Are you looking to make your hunt for shiny Latias easier? Well, I'm Zane, aka Direwolf, and I'm going to be showing you how to automate that hunt in Pokemon Legends ZA. Let's get to it. So here we are in our 5-star hyperspace hole that contains Latias. So we're going to go into this one with either a Sparkling Power level 3 of Psychic or Dragon. Now this one's really good because this has the Catching Power Dragon level 3 on it, but it also has Alpha Power, so I'm going to save this one for Latios, and I'll show you why in that next video. We're going to use this one that has Humongo Power. So we'll enter the hyperspace hole here, skip this cutscene. All right, and then we get in here and it is confirmed Latias. So once you're inside the hyperspace hole, you're going to turn right, run through this cloud of Muna and Musharna, enter this hole, and because we've got Sparkling Power Dragon, it's going to be that Altaria right there. Climb up this ladder to your right, and climb up on this roof, and then this roof. And if we look right over here, come on, buddy. There's our Latias. So the way that we want to spawn and despawn is, unfortunately, this one doesn't have a fun little teleporter like Terrakion did, but we just need to watch it until we see that little red blob disappear, and right about there. So jumping off the roof, and Latias does wander back and forth, so you're a little bit safer coming back here to this second bush, and then we'll just walk up when we see it respawn. Okay, so up here, we were able to get it to respawn. And you can actually get it a little bit closer down to this corner, and I'm sure you've seen plenty of tutorial videos going over this as well. The other route that we can do, and the one that we're going to use for today, is we can get Latias to spawn and despawn by running in a straight line. If we come back right here, you see it despawn up there. And then if we just run in a straight line here, and we get to this chimney stack, there it is. You can see the red wings just above that hedge. It spawns and despawns. So then what we're going to do is we're going to run on the corner of this ledge here, just in a straight line to this chimney stack. And that's going to be our rolls and re-rolls. And so that's the macro that we're going to program. So inside Ultimate Software 2, we're going to open up our switch and our shiny hunting profile, and we're going to go into macros. We're going to create a new macro for this, and this is just going to be Latias. You may have some other running macros that you've programmed in the past, but Latias is going to have slightly different timing intervals because we're not running directly at it and back. We're kind of off to the side. So for that, we're going to dial in the process of where we are running with this. We're going to set it at single for just right now. And then when we start this, we're going to have to press up and then B, and then we'll hold up for some amount of time and then stop. So if you've seen any of my other videos, I do like to make this closer to the 50-second interval because it just lines up nicely with my natural button press. But having these consistent intervals helps making these other times that we're going to be inputting in here a lot more accurate. So we'll start this one at just 2000 milliseconds, and we'll save it. And you'll notice that we did just keep it at single. We're going to just apply this right here, and we're going to really dial this one in. So we made it active. We'll go back. We'll test it in game. All right, so to test this, we're going to come over here to this corner of the ledge. We're going to line ourselves up with the ledge so our character figure is about as perfectly into this ledge as we can, and we'll just keep rotating the camera screen until we get it. Once we feel confident, we'll hit the macro and we'll let it run. And so you see we only made it half the distance. So if I run it twice, we overshot the target by just a little bit. Perfect. So we'll come back into our Ultimate Software here, plug in the controller, and we'll just do it again. And so now we'll go back to Switch, Shiny, Macros, and we'll pull up our Latias. So we had this running for about 2,000 milliseconds. We saw that 4,000 was a little too long, running it twice. So we're going to dial this back and we'll see what 3,500 looks like. And we might need a little bit more than that, but this is just how we're going to troubleshoot and just dial it in. So then we'll come back over to our Switch and we'll try it again. And we'll run back over to this corner, get ourselves nice and lined up, and hit run. We see that Latias did despawn, and Latias respawn. So actually 3,500 is a really good number for this, and that gets us right about to that chimney stack. So now what we need to work on is running backwards. So once again, we're going to go back into our Ultimate software, reconnect our controller, and do it all over again. And now we need to add the reverse movement. And so we'll start, and it'll just tack on right at the end here. And we'll do the same thing. We'll do down, we'll hold B, and we'll hold down for an amount of time, and we'll hit stop. So now our down, same thing. We want to make these as accurate as possible. Otherwise, we're going to keep overshooting the location. And let's set this once again, 3,500 milliseconds. And done. Okay, and now let's see how this works in game. So now we've got it set up. We want to be right here on this corner, and we'll let it run. And as we're running away, we want to see that Latias is there, but we'll also see that my turnaround didn't activate the sprint mechanic. So we need to go back and we need to toggle some of those values. So what we actually need in this macro, because we did this in two different parts, is we need a timer in between our left stick up and our left stick down here in the middle. And so the easy way to just get another timer button in here is hit start, hit a quick input. I just hit down. And so what we'll do is we'll delete this down activate and this down repress. And what we're left with is this little timer interval here. And so we're just going to slide this over. Like I said, 50 milliseconds is my natural button press. So we've got a break here of 50 milliseconds. So now what this will do is this is going to run, initiate the run with our up and our B, hold on to that for about 3.5 seconds. And then there's going to be a 50 millisecond release where your character stops. And then we're just going to initiate it back in the other direction. So we'll save this and we'll run this on the Switch and see what we get. Try our macro. And you'll see I'm not perfectly lined up. I'm kind of shifting here inside the tiles, and that's going to be something we want to avoid. And I didn't quite make it back to the corner, and I didn't quite despawn Latias. So what we need to do is increase our downtime just a little bit. Nothing we can't solve. So we'll come back in here to our software, we plug in the controller, and we'll just extend that down press of the run back by another 100 milliseconds, and we'll see what that does. So we'll come in here and we'll just make this 3,600. Save, and we'll go back in. We'll come over here to the corner, line ourselves up, and let it run. Perfect, still there. Latias appeared, and we're back, and Latias despawned. We're still not quite where we want to be. We want to be a little bit further, so we'll just keep increasing it until we line ourselves up exactly where we want to be. Excuse me, we're still filming the tutorial. Can you come back later? These prima donna shinies, I tell you. So this is the final configuration that I came up with. This is the one that's been working pretty well for me. So I increased those interval pauses from 50 milliseconds to 100 milliseconds. That's both here at the top for this interval, as well as this one down below in between our up input and our down input. In addition to that, I toggled this final down press input to 3660, and that seems to be really good. Anywhere between that 3660 and 3665 was kind of enough to keep me on that platform and come back to the same spot I started. But this controller doesn't have that level of fidelity. There's going to be some drift in that timing, so just be patient, let it run. And then if you fell off or you're not despawning Latias, maybe adjust your position a little bit. But this is going to be working most of the time. This is going to be a really hard one to program for. You're not going to despawn Latias every single time, but it is going to be enough to do something else. Like, for instance, I will edit this video or watch some TV or do something that's not going to take all of your attention, but something that you're only going to be in the cyberspace for about 5 minutes. So some short intervals that you can kind of let this run while you do something else. All right, as you can see, I've got the macro running. Controller's over here. We're just doing loops and we're despawning and spawning Latias back in. So I'll put the final configuration down below. I had a few comments on some other videos about how to troubleshoot if it's not working, so I hope you guys found this helpful. This is probably going to be the hardest one to actually program for because this running mechanic is so finicky. Just keep that in mind. And with that said, this one might not be one that's really worth automating. I automated it. Obviously, it's possible, but I think the amount of time and effort you have to put into this, it's mostly just a distraction from you actively shiny hunting it while you're dialing in this macro. But the macro does work. As you can see, I was able to capture my shiny Latias in a beast ball while editing this video. And if you found this helpful, consider subscribing and check out a couple of these other videos for some more shiny hunting tips in Pokemon Legends ZA. I'll see you there.